everyone, I'm Fox, and today I'm going to be talking about Yamabuki Suo from Moe Ninja Girls. Now, even a character from more mature media can be a brilliantly written badass. If you're underage, now is your warning. This character is for older teen to adult audiences, so please do not stick around and melt your eyeballs. Thank you. Also, we are so genuinely sorry. We know the preview doesn't match again. This time, I promise the previewed video is coming in the future. We're just a lot busier than we expected to be, and that one will take a little more time than normal. So thank you so much for bearing with us. Now, I'm willing to bet someone watching this is already a little horrified that a character from a media with a name like Moe Ninja Girls is allowed to be on our strong woman media list. But Yamabuki genuinely fits. There is a time and a place for adult media, and when media says it's going to be sexy, I really hope it's going to be sexy. I also hope it realizes that it doesn't have to be exempt from good characters and writing just because it comes with some spicy content. Moe Ninja Girls has honestly some of the best written female characters I have experienced ever. Granted, I am biased. This game helped me through some of the absolute worst things in my life. But I still stand by this statement. Moe Ninja Girls has some of the best written characters in all of Otome. Rip my hair out for it if you want. I don't care. At least watch the video first. Moe Ninja Girls was created by Solmare, a then very small Japanese company established in 2002 by telecommunications company NTT, which makes and distributes games and manga. Most common among their games is otome games aimed at women, featuring lines of cute, dateable boys. They've always had a thing for ninjas, but Moe Ninja Girls was still new ground for them. This was their first time making a game with dateable girls, rather than dateable boys. You might know Solmare for their latest and probably most successful game, Obey Me, and its successor, Obey Me Nightbringer, which features a cast of demon boys in a demon school. I somewhat theorize that the money from Moe Ninja Girls made Obey Me possible, but that's just me. I have no evidence, so don't quote me on that. What I can say, though, is that no one understands girls like the men and women who write for girls' deepest interests every day. So it stands to reason that these ladies are unique. The general story of Moe Ninja Girls is that there are secret clans of ninjas, and you play as a whiny teenage boy who ran away from home in order to have a normal high school life, only to accidentally run into ninjas, all from several different unique clans. Through a series of events, you and your first two cute ninja girls establish the Ninja Seeking Club, a club secretly made up of ninjas. The sole goal on paper is to find more ninjas. Spoiler alert, they find more ninjas. The game is broken up into a system of seasons, and each season focuses on a different pair of girls in the club. While I love all of these ninjas immensely, today we're going to be focusing on one in particular, Yamabuki. Spoilers ahead for Moe Ninja Girls, but not the RPG that's not half as good, and we're going to pretend it doesn't exist. Boo! RPG! Something Moe Ninja Girls does that I just love is draw on tropes as a character concept, but then end up writing something totally different. Entirely because the sheer number of layers on these characters separates them immensely from their bases. In Yamabuki's case, we're looking at an old trope that's usually used for annoying side characters who had comic relief. The quirky nerd girl who secretly loves to draw yaoi. Now, Buki loves to draw all things sexual, not just yaoi. But that isn't what makes her truly unique. Buki is one of the characters whose backstory is built up to. From the start, we can see that she's mischievous, playful, and excitable. She's quick to volunteer to help when the situation needs her hobbies, and quick to back out if something doesn't interest her. She's a cosplayer, doujinshi manga artist, and mainstream anime fan. The writers understand these hobbies and the politics of them so well that when they introduce another nerd girl who happens to be a so different girl, she and Buki hate each other from day one, and have arguments that refer to genuine anime, with a few letters changed in the name just for copyright reasons. Yamabuki can be so manipulative, and regularly ropes her friends into helping her with her writing or cosplay antics, all while playing dumb or crying wolf if they call her on it. It gives her a realistic, unlikable trait, which adds dimensionality to her character. And another thing that I love that makes her different from a lot of fictional characters is the fact that Buki isn't already a superstar manga artist either. It's a goal she's working towards, but realistically can't yet achieve. When we first meet her, she writes doujinshi, basically fan comics, and is slowly working her way up to being able to draw for a real publishing company. It's a big deal for the players as we watch her grow and improve, and we're really proud of her as an audience when she succeeds and gets a sign-on deal at last in the post-ending seasons. Like the other girls, Buki is also a ninja, though she hides that fact at first. She uses painting as her jitsu, bringing everything she draws to life in the form of puppets she can control. The better her drawing, the better the puppet. As the only ninja with this kind of jitsu, it's pretty clear that Buki isn't from one of the main ninja clans like the majority of the ninja girls. Unfortunately, that means she can't be considered a true ninja by them, which is our first real sign that something's odd about her. She seems to care a lot less about her status than the other clanless ninja we meet, but that's a key thing with Yamabuki. Whenever emotions get involved, she runs from them. She will do anything to change the subject as fast as possible, or to simply stay out of it, or make light of it. If the issue is pointed at her, she's especially dodgy. She may be smiling and laughing, but she's actually being cold to emotion. She regularly fails to consider the people around her, and her behavior shows that emotions make her altogether uncomfortable, so she just hides from them. She gets away with it for a while, but there is a point where it finally bites her, and we'll get to that. Naturally, if you choose her romance endings, she might have a line or two of vulnerability in some, but it's usually so quiet the main character can't hear it, and then it's immediately followed up by her being smiles and avoiding her problems. She wants to try, especially with Kazuki, the player character, but her trauma holds her back. Yamabuki covers up the pain with things she enjoys and things that feel good, since they're easier than facing reality. And that brings us to the source of her trauma. If you have any long-standing pains or traumas yourself, you might understand her struggle already. In the very bizarre way, your body just heals up and prevents you from speaking, no matter how hard you try, if traumatic feelings are triggered. That's just how good Buki's writing is. Yamabuki is a spy for the American government. Well into season 25, after escaping some American agents, members of an organization known as the MEA, the ninjas find themselves at a dead end. They think they can find a way through, but Yamabuki tells them it's game over and points a gun at Kazuki's head. This is the big reveal that Buki has been working for the MEA the entire time, and is actually an American agent. At this point, the MEA wanted a powerful artifact that one of the ninjas uses as her weapon, because it's the key to reaching the real big bad guys in their sub-dimension castle. At first it was like, whoa, that just happened? How? But then I remembered all the foreshadowing throughout the last 25 seasons. Way back at the beginning of the story, when Yamabuki sold Kazuki's sword to sketch it because it was interesting. The MEA specializes in abnormal artifacts like the Kamui, so it makes perfect sense. Buki also said early on that she was American, but it never got brought up again. And blonde-haired, blue-eyed Johnny was the American in the room, so I just dismissed it. Buki lies all the time after all. Out of all the girls, Yamabuki is the most engrossed in Japanese culture. But that's because she's actually a weeaboo, an American fan of Japanese media. It may not have been the first of the game's betrayals, but this was across 34 total seasons, and the last one was entirely different contextually. Yamabuki's betrayal was so well done, it outdoes the other one enough to be valid. The scene shortly after Buki's betrayal really sticks with me though because of how good it was. Up until this point in the story, I hated Nanao, the other nerdy girl. She was just really annoying and way too realistically written of a so different girl.
Apparently she's me.
She is though. After this scene, I immediately loved Nanao. She was the only one willing to hold her ground and stand up to Yamabuki. In this scene, the Ninja Seeking Club is holding a meeting at one of the girls' houses and discussing how to rescue that girl's recently kidnapped mother. During the meeting, Yamabuki just waltzes on in and starts talking like literally nothing had happened. Nanao challenges her, and Buki resorts to gaslighting and making light of everything to get everyone else to see Nanao as the problem. Buki lies and manipulates her way through the conversation, and completely manages to take control in a painfully realistic way. Just check out a few of these lines. It's not voice acted, I'm sorry. Now, it's pretty clear that Yamabuki is an incredibly unlikable character, if not just from that glimpse of her. That doesn't mean she can't be a strong female character, though. Yamabuki endures and fights through her rotten lot in life. But more than that, she's written naturally and realistically. Most of her dialogue feels like something you could reasonably hear someone say in real life. The writers put actual care and love into making her a layered, interesting, and believable character, without worrying about how she might appear to some politically driven executive or to childish boys that wouldn't be comfortable having a girl be mean to them. And in a dating sim, no less. Moe Ninja Girls isn't just about giving readers a trophy babe. It's about telling a good story, and offering girls with so much depth, you'll want to stick around and get to know them more. As a storytelling element, Yamabuki also plays an important role as a conflict causer and hot scene creator. She makes things more fun and interesting in general with her vivid imagination and often mean commentary. Without her, the story itself would be less interesting. It's okay to like Yamabuki even though she's flawed, even if you yourself find her unlikable. I actually hate Yamabuki as a person. But I can't ignore the efforts put into her character, and the way the writers went above and beyond to make a female character as layered and complex as Yamabuki. And let's be real, most otome game ladies are little better than cardboard cutouts. It's remarkable to find one so well written. But that's the thing, Yamabuki is what all female characters should aim to be. And her being so well done despite being in an adult content game makes it even more embarrassing for non-horny media that can't seem to write women with any layers to speak of. Buki's backstory also fits so amazingly into the plot, and serves to flesh out the world as a whole. Buki is the first freelance ninja in the story, but later in we learn that these clanless ninjas aren't really considered true ninjas. Nanao, for example, uses ninjutsu and comes from a long-lost clan, but is the last person with her jutsu and no organized group that could be recognized by the other clans. She isn't considered a true ninja. Ninjas in organized clans receive protection and benefits that clanless ninjas do not have. In a way, you can compare it to members of unrecognized Native American tribes. They have history, but they do not receive reservation land or other protection afforded to those in recognized tribes. In the context of Moe Ninja Girls, a number of ninjas escape this by fusing their much smaller clans into modern conglomerates, namely Obnubi, a modern organization that turns ninja work into businessmen for hire, all from the desks of a skyscraper rather than the comfort of a hidden village. These straggler ninjutsu users become easy prey for unpleasant forces, like the MEA, but also for the BBG of the entire game, Gutan. Gutan is a mysterious and manipulative villain who coerces said stragglers into fighting for him on his side, under the pretense that the world outside already hates them enough, but he can help them. And when you're an outcast with weird powers who can't even be accepted by the other people with weird powers, that's a pretty attractive agreement. Buki, though, I theorize didn't even have a choice. She was likely taken as a child straight from Japan by Americans as an artifact and a tool that could be useful to them. And with no clan to back her up, it's easy for her to just disappear. It's easy for any of them to disappear. Yamabuki isn't the only MEA ninja. We meet several others who are all from unknown clans, but are all loyal dogs to the MEA. Which brings us to Yamabuki's most important decision, reclaiming her life by turning on the MEA. Yamabuki never had the chance to make her own choices. to experience life, or to pursue her own dreams. The MEA took that away from her. The Ninja Seeking Club was truly the first time she was allowed to explore herself and her world. During the very last battle in Season 30 of Moe Ninja Girls, Yamabuki joins the fight on the side of the MEA, rather than the Ninja Seeking Club. Unfortunately, Kazuki has been brain-controlled by Gutan, and the MEA would happily kill him instead of help him. Yamabuki has to make a choice. Save her first real friend ever, or help kill him. Buki chooses to abandon the MEA, to bring together the Ninja Seeking Club for a final strike, and to save Kazuki. In doing so, she turns on the MEA, but she also opens the door to reasoning with them. The MEA can lose its best agent, or it can compromise. Since she's one of the ninjas who helped save the whole world from absolute devastation, it ended up being in their best interest to reason with her. Yamabuki negotiates for her freedom and for Kazuki's safety. She is now free to stay in Japan and pursue her dreams, while doing some MEA dirty work as well. But if she hadn't made that choice to save Kazuki, she never would have been free again. Which brings us to her name. It's fascinating to note that Yamabuki isn't a normal name, Japanese or otherwise. It's the word for Japanese caria, a beautiful tree that flowers early in the spring. The word first appeared in the Manyoshu, a collection of Japanese poems written by many authors and commonly believed to have been compiled by Otomo no Yakamochi, a distinguished poet and politician from the Nara period in Japan. As a government tool, Yamabuki doesn't actually have a real name. Her code name is Glock, after the gun, but the name we know her by, Yamabuki, that was only given to her for her mission in Japan, which is proven by the fact that her American coworkers know her strictly as Glock. None of the MEA ninjas have real names. They're all named after weapons that reflect their role and usefulness in battle. Glock is also a fitting name for her, as one of the most reliable pistols commonly used by police worldwide and as concealed carries. Shortly after the patent expired, the gun began to be made by many companies all over the world, and Glock became a catch-all title for pistols of that same make. Yamabuki is a ninja who isn't working for a Japanese clan, so she's like the gun built with the same pattern by different people. She's also a concealed weapon, literally spying on Kazuki and the Ninja Seeking Club. And she's a tool used by the government to enforce their interests. As Glock, she is the model MEA agent, more tool than person. That means she both doesn't have a real name, and that she had to have chosen the name Yamabuki. And after reading the poems of the Manyoshu, I can say with confidence that Yamabuki is a perfect name. While many of the 18 mentions of Yamabuki in the Manyoshu are simply about springtime and pretty blooming trees, a few of them say a bit more. Poem 19, 4169-70, goes as follows. Obedient to our sovereign's command, I, a man, traveled all the way to rule distant Koshi. But changing is the world of men. I lie on a bed of illness, my pain increasing with the days, now thinking of the saddest things, now haunted by cruel thoughts. I am troubled with grief. I am tortured with fears. Yet, as the mountains rise between, and the way is stretching far, I know no means to send a messenger, nor can I speed my heartfelt words, and struggle as I may, I know not what to do. So in my room I bewail, and nothing eases my heart. Now, at the height of spring, I cannot break the flowering sprays with my friends. To deck our heads, I cannot hear the voice of the warblers. As simply as possible, the man in the poem suffers, but spring blooms anyway. Spring is as blind to pain as Yamabuki's cover-ups. Another poem speaks about living in the countryside, and the speaker's longing for their missing mother. Now, America is a lot further than the Japanese countryside, but for someone who couldn't experience Japan until she was assigned to spy on some kids, Yamabuki must have been pretty helpless feeling. A later member of the MEA confirms that she only goes where the MEA allows her to go, when they allow it. As an Otome heroine, Buki, as well as another girl, Tenge, were originally non-dateables, which basically means that they originally weren't girls who the player character could pursue romantically. But she and Tenge were so popular with the fans that Solmare added them to the roster. To be honest, I think that because of their experience, the writers knew people would like them enough to want to date them. and maybe always meant for them to be dateable, or at least hoped they would be. What's great about this is that we get to see a unique personality, usually reserved for side characters, pushed into the spotlight and allowed to shine. And boy does Yamabuki shine. Just remember too, all of the girls are this good. Overall, Yamabuki is a unique character who proves that even games of adult theming can have genuine, strong female characters. A character, like any part of an art piece, should be judged based on how well they play the role they were intended to play. If that role is hot girlfriend, that's okay. There's still room to write a realistic girl with layers and a killer backstory. I think writers of any genre should strive to be the best of what that genre can be. And there is a best in every genre. It's just not reasonable to write off the incredible writing and characters of Moe Ninja Girls entirely because of the subject matter. Yamabuki is amazing. That's that. So what do you think? Is there a complicated female character you love in spite of her flaws? Who would you like to hear us talk about next? We look forward to continuing to share with you a year of strong women. If you liked what you saw and want to see more, consider buying us a Ko-fi with the link below. And please be sure to let us know by commenting, and subscribing. We super appreciate it. Shout out to Tigger also for buying us our first ever Ko-fi. We are so thankful. Really, we can't thank you enough. See you next time, and thanks for watching.